Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and there was no longer any sea. Revelation. The new heaven and the new earth. There was no longer any sea. No longer any separation. No longer land, sea, yours, mine. All one. The full quote goes like this. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first earth and the first heaven had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from heaven, prepared as a beautiful bride dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and He will dwell with them. They will be His people, and God Himself will be with them and be their God. And He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain. For the old order of things has passed away." The old order of things has passed away. And actually, to get there, to get to this new heaven and this new earth, you must let go of what we think it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to be. We can look at this statement literally and metaphysically at the same time. We know that literally, when we see something and see it differently, it changes. Quantum physics tells us this, that when something is observed, the observed object shifts just by mere observation. And we also know that when we change our thoughts about something, stop calling it evil or bad or not right, our experience of it changed. We stop fighting what is. We give way and accept. And our experience, our internal experience of something on the outside, opens up. So both things are possible. That doesn't change at all, but I have a new relationship with it. And then when I have a new relationship with it, that thing can't stay the same either. That thing observed by me and seen differently by me actually shifts. So there's a new heaven and a new earth, both metaphysically and literally, when we allow it, when we shift into it. And as I've been contemplating this talk, you may have noticed that our country is kind of blowing up politically. There are just a few things on the news about who said what, and who did what, and who's right, and who's wrong, and who's evil, and who's bad, and who should never get within 100 feet of the White House. And you're asked to make this choice all the time. You are constantly barraged in every part of your life to make some kind of choice and call something good or bad. But the Scripture tells us that there will be a new heaven and a new earth when we let go of the old order of things. When we let go of thinking about it that way. And last week, 2 weeks ago, I actually spoke to you about Eden, about taking a bite of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. When they took the bite from the apple of the knowledge of good and evil, they were cast out of paradise. Not for a sin, right? And we know in unity, if you don't know, I'll tell you today, in unity, what we mean by sin is the archery term, missing the mark. It just means that you could have done it differently. Sin is originally an archery term. And it means you missed the target. So you take the arrow back, and you put it in the bow again, and you try again. It's not that you're inherently bad or evil. You just missed the mark. Try it again. So if we apply this concept of trying it again and choosing to our everyday life, not just our quote-unquote spiritual life, right? We come here and we learn these spiritual principles and we decide, oh, I'm going to live spiritually in everything but politics. In everything but relationships with my family. Because that's just too hard. That's just way, way too hard. As a family, we are reading Nonviolent Communication. At the dinner table, once a week, we sit down and read a chapter of Nonviolent Communication together as a family. Roma doesn't read it yet, but she will soon. But Tobias and JD and I read it. And there was this story in the book by Marshall Rosenberg this week. It was really astonishing. This woman had been taking his course, and she worked in a homeless shelter for in a detox for down and out people. And she told about this experience where this guy came in and needed a bed, a detox bed, and she was full, she didn't have any, and he attacked her, threw her onto the ground, and held a knife at her throat, demanding a bed. And she used the principles that Marshall had been teaching her in NVC to empathize with the gentleman and to keep engaged with him until finally he got off her and put down the knife, and they found him a room in another detox facility. And she came back the next week, amazing story, she came back the next week to his session and told him about how it was done, and he says, well, wow, you sound like an expert in NVC, why are you here? He goes, well, because I need some real help. Because I went home that week, and then my mother told me that she wanted me to quit the job because she was too worried about me, and I was anything but nonviolent in my communication to my mother. I needed help with the real hard person to do it. The person who held a knife at her throat was easy. Her mother was the hard one. And in that section she talks about, don't put your butt in my face. Don't put your butt in my face. And but is an argument with what is. When you remove but from your conversation with someone, and replace it with yes, and, yes, and, people know they've been hurt. Right? Just an opportunity. Don't put your butt, B-U-T, in my face. And I thought that was a great opening for us here to talk today about our choice. I had scheduled a talk on November 6th. November 6th is the Sunday before the election. And I scheduled a talk called Choice. And in the salons we do after service, people have been asking me to move it up because they've been having so much trouble living in the duality of this election, right? And this seeming binary choice. And how do we live and how do we apply our principles to this? How do we apply the unity principles in this election? And I thought of this. You know, you're given a choice. You're going to vote for this hand, or you're going to vote for this hand, right? And the right hand is amazing. It's really strong. It knows how to protect you. My right hand is anyway. My right hand is really strong. It will keep you safe, and it will make you great again. It's so strong it can do all that, right? It can tackle anything. But my left hand here is also really good. It's really good, and it also has an ability to try things on a different perspective. It has different functions, and it's more inclusive. It likes teamwork. It likes doing things together. So you have your choice. You can vote for your right hand, which is secure and strong and seems to have the strength, or you can vote for your left hand. But remember, they're both connected. And it's not that either one of them is right or wrong, although this is right, but it's not correct or wrong. It's just that sometimes they need to work together. They need to know that to pick this up, it works better if we both do it together. to adjust it, works better as a team. And what's happened in all of our political discourse, in my observation, and in my life, is that I'm forced to make a choice that isn't real. A choice of saying, this is right, correct, and this is wrong, incorrect. And when we do that, we separate ourselves from a whole group of people, from a whole contingent. We put our butt in their face. We tell them that because of their political beliefs and because of who they're supporting, that somehow they don't deserve, that they're less than. And it sounds extreme, but have you looked at our political discourse? We not only call people wrong, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats, it's made this choice of hate. Hate. Rather than a choice for what we want. In his book, A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle talks about it this way. He talks about the Buddhist principle of Maya, the veil of delusion. That this idea has come over us that we're separate, that they seize this dysfunction or even madness as a collective mental illness. Those words exactly. They call it Maya, the veil of delusion, but it's a collective mental illness. That somehow we think that our people don't matter. And that we think our thoughts and our words don't have an effect. Right? We know the law of cause and effect here, right? Yep. Right? Everybody know the law of cause and effect. What you do, what you say has an effect in the world. But we think that we don't live in the effect. Right? We don't think we live in the effect. That we can call someone else evil and wrong and not feel the effect of it. Well, that's not how it works, folks. I'm sorry, it just isn't. If you're going to call someone else evil for what they say or what they believe, you are going to be the first recipient of that evil thought because it's an evil thought. Right? You're the first recipient. So how about this? It seems like a dilemma, but I can't support what they're saying. I can't support that person. I have people on both sides of this political discussion talking about that right now. But what I'm offering to us today is that we step out of that madness, that collective insanity. Talk about what we want in the world. Talk about what we want from our leaders and our political employees, because that's what they are. They're our employees, right? I know, my husband and I know, we pay our taxes. We pay our fair share of taxes. And I think everyone should, because we all benefit from the roads and from the police and from the military who does protect us. But I also want to say that yes, I believe in this system. What if we only talked about what we believe in without making anyone wrong? I believe in paying taxes. I believe that we should have an open and progressive immigration system where everyone is honored and seen, and I believe in the rule of law. I believe that you should play by the rules, be clear and upfront about what you're doing to everyone, and admit when you're wrong and when you've made a mistake. I believe that government should take care of the neediest of us because it is the most efficient way to have it done. And I believe that when there is waste and corruption, it should be shown with a light on it so that it can stop. I believe that our politicians should have a polite and practical discourse about what they want the world to be. And I am pledging right here and right now that in my words, in my writings, in my Facebook posts, and in my conversations with other people, that that's what I'm going to do from now on. That I am getting out of this veil of delusion, this collective insanity that is gripping our political system and our households and our families, and say, I will only talk about what I believe in and show what I am, so that the effect in the world is what I want to see. Not easy. Not easy, because I sat on my couch on Friday night and watched the TV. I watched the TV as it exploded. And there was this moment of schadenfreude for me, where I was reveling in the misfortune of others. Reveling in the misfortune of one political candidate. And I was consumed by it. Consumed by it. But then I started thinking about this and going, who is it that I want to be in the world? And what is the world I want to see? I don't want a world where we come here on Sunday and talk about these spiritual principles and don't apply them the second we walk out the door. Or when we pull out our phone in the middle of service and we blast a hateful tweet. Right? It's just don't want to be in that effect anymore. Look at the effect it has on the world. Look, we're living in the effect, and the only way off of this is to stop it. To be the shining city on the hill. To be the light at the end of the tunnel. In Seed of the Soul, Gary Zukav talks about it. And living your soul's purpose. Right? Living your soul's purpose. Using your personality to live your soul's purpose. Now, I'm not asking you not to be who you are. In fact, I want you to be exactly who you are. But I want you to be your highest self. Okay? I want me to be my highest self. And I want for all of you to be your highest self, not the lowest common denominator. Right? And we can all look at it in our politics and say, oh boy, is he, is she the lowest common denominator? And listen to it. So then don't be that. Be something else. Show the way. Be the light. Be the one who makes the difference. Right, left. Choose. Every day, make the choice of which hand you're going to choose, which candidate you're going to support, which person is best to fill that job. Don't walk away from the political discourse. Don't walk away from the world, but be different in the middle of it. Every day, in every way, choose who you want to be. Choose who you want your leaders to be, and demonstrate it. If they're not leading, you do. If they're not living up to it, you do. This is the chance we all have from now until the election and then after the election. Because if you think that this is going away after November 8th, you haven't been paying attention. Unless we change this, this will just go on past November 8th and into the next election and into the next election. Every day, in every way, choose. Speak positive words about what you believe in, what you hold most dear, what you need and what you value in life. Every day, in every way, you make the world a better place. This is the ultimate election. Every day, you choose what to put into the world, what you vote for with your words, with your tweets, with your posts, with your interactions, and with your thoughts. Vote. Choose wisely. And create a new heaven and a new earth. Let's take that to our time of meditation.